Live and direct once again. Live stream number 2, Diablo TV. Did it yesterday for the first time. Planned on coming next Wednesday and doing another one, but I got obsessed about it. I got obsessed about it last night. Now I see and I think this time I figured out how to enable the monetization ahead of time. Boom. So then I normally on Thursdays teach Boca area. So then I come here earlier to do this. Then I gotta be done by 7. Go teach Pom Bom. Then got a new character I'm looking to introduce. You've seen him before on the channel. Bring him in as one of my training partners, one of my students, one of my brothers. Bam. So, what's up with the comments? Yesterday, do I have to enable them? Yesterday, they just started popping up. So if you out there, pop up with some comments so I can see. I don't know if I have to enable it or not. I still don't know really how to work this thing. And I wrote some notes on the way up here, so I'll cover some things, some knowledge. Get my notebook. Don't see nobody in the comments yet. I don't know if I gotta enable them. If you out there watching, tuning in, get in the comments. Lots to talk about. Boxing. Got me versus the Bionic Boxing Barber, Clint Osborne, Cornish Gamecock, April 5th, Plymouth, at Plymouth Albion. Old Albion. Old name, Roman name for England, isn't it? And there's a song by a certain notorious band called Old Albion, which I won't be singing. I sing it sometimes, but I don't mean to. It's a RAC song. Very naughty, very naughty. So, I'm in pre-season training, as it were. Fight is April 5th. I don't see no comments. Do I gotta enable something over here? Do I have to enable something on this? Not sure. Don't see no comments. If anybody's out there, chime in. Otherwise, keep talking. That's easy for me. Got boxing. I'm already where my weight needs to be. I weighed in 172.3 today. Okay, there you go. There you go. Mic check 1. USVS, the buff. Mic check 1, 2. Hello, Uncle. Can't tell exactly who that is. Haha, British Jiu-Jitsu. The man like Plymouth Ryan. Ooh. And that's an interesting one. I'm gonna go attend P teaches now. It's interesting. A lot of people that from 2019, when I first moved to England and everything like that, before the Vice documentary was out, a lot of people that's around me have all moved up. Obviously, I've moved up. I've gotten a lot bigger. My man Ryan was a jiu-jitsu student at the time. And now he got his own school and he got his own martial arts system. Like I got my own martial arts system. Jung Tong Mu, Kung Sudo, Taekwondo. He got the British Jiu-Jitsu. And in the same way that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu revolutionized Jiu-Jitsu, these British people, they have a knack for taking something, analyzing it, breaking it down, and improving upon it. We have a different way of approaching it. We put a lot of resources into things, and we come up with the ideas in the first place. A lot of times, television, radio, so many things America's come up with first, right? But we put like a lot of raw resources and hire the best people. But the British look at something and they analyze it. Well, you know, what you can do here is da-da-da. So then you have the Danaher, the John Danaher is the next one who made a revolution in jiu-jitsu, really. Doing stuff I was doing to be, I was focusing on footlocks because I came from the Japanese way of approaching it. And that's a whole nother subject. Ooh, who invented MMA? It's gonna come out. I'm one of the pioneers. South Florida. Yep, it's gonna come out. But I just leave it like this. With all due respect to Dana White, he's the man in what he does, and he's invested in this narrative that it was Bruce Lee and Jeet Kune Do and the Gracies that led to MMA. And I do Jeet Kune Do. Jeet Kune Do influenced me. I was with the Jeet Kune Do people. So the Jeet Kune Do people, Sifu Dwight Woods, Unified Martial Arts Academy. Do you feel me? Kendall on the Dan and the Santo. And that's where you could, that system there is a collection of systems like my Jongtong Murukwan is, as Plymouth Ryan correctly deduced. And they were the first ones messing with the jiu-jitsu, if you think of it like that. I went to a Hickson Gracie seminar in 1992 before the first UFC. How many people was doing jiu-jitsu before the first UFC, even knew what it was? I did. But in jiu-jitsu, Gracie jiu-jitsu, correct name to me, it was incomplete. It was the most effective submission art, but have a look, because I consider I'm shoot wrestling, I'm submission wrestling, I'm purple belt in jiu-jitsu, but I always went into it to try to negate their technique and do my own thing because I came from pro wrestling. Pro wrestling is the king. So MMA is a form of pro wrestling. Yep. Real easy to see. Go back to Fujiwara Gumi, the man like Kane, yeah, Undertaker's brother. Fujiwara Gumi. Nobody don't know about that. I want to spread it. I'm invested in it. I don't make money off it, but Fujiwara Gumi, it all comes up to the Japanese pro wrestling. Ricky Dozan, the original Japanese pro wrestling, who was stabbed with a urine-soaked blade by Yakuza members, famously because he annihilated Kimura, the famous Kimura. People think it's the name of a move. It's named after a dude, a guy, the greatest Japanese jiu-jitsu man, and Helio Gracie went and fought him, and he beat Helio Gracie, and so that's how the Kimura thing comes up, because Count Maeda, Count Koma, he only taught the Gracies for like 9 months or whatever, and then he left. So they didn't get to Kimura. They didn't learn the Kimura, so they hadn't seen it. So he broke Helio Gracie's shoulder. Interesting tales there. So yeah, Count Maeda invented the whole thing. Maeda is the founder of MMA. If you think of it that way. Also, this Count Maeda. What a brilliant story that is of martial arts. I want to make a movie about him. I want to be in it. I'll portray him too. I want to portray a lot of people history when I get the funding and the resource. I got to make my own movies about my skinhead experience. But I want all the people I think about and stuff. I want to make a movie with me starring, Adolf Hitler, Knight of the Iron Boots. Most people don't know about that. Before he came to power, Knight of the Iron Boots, that's a critical one. I want to portray Joseph Stalin. I want to portray Joseph Mengele. I want to portray Malcolm X. I want to portray Maeda. So yeah, is it going to be blackface when I portray Malcolm X? Yeah, whatever you want to call it. I don't call it that. But I'm authorized as far as I'm concerned. I got all the jurisdiction I need. I read his autobiography. I've studied him my whole life. What I like the best about Malcolm X, a lot of people documented a lot of this stuff, but there was a CD series that came out called The Wisdom of Malcolm X. It's funny as hell. If you hear him doing speeches and stuff, what? He's talking about, according to him, black people who act like they're white and and no one don't love you because you don't love yourself. You're not this and you're not that. So you sit around like nothing, like a bum on the log. You're in bad shape. It's funny, real funny. He's talking, the chief of police in Philadelphia said that Malcolm running around with a white man. Yeah, and when he says that, you tell him it's his wife. And I threw her out of the bed because she's so dog-like. Funny. If you would have got Malcolm X in pro wrestling before he went to Hajj, would have been brilliant. But going back to the Fujiwara Gumi and the Japanese pro wrestling, Ricky Dozan, original Japanese pro wrestling. Then it goes to to Antonio Inoki with the strong style. And now they're calling that in pro wrestling terms Inokiism, which is to say that pro wrestling is the best, beats other martial arts, beats any combat sport. And he fought Muhammad Ali to prove it. It's a weird fight, but his strategy worked. He couldn't finish him, take him to the ground with him. But anyway, so you're looking for that match. So then you could call that mixed martial arts, like a judo Jean Labelle. You can call mixed fights mixed martial arts. Like Kamaeda was from Japanese background, but then he went all around Europe fighting guys, no rules fights, other kind of mixed fights, and he learned the catch wrestling. So catch wrestling. Does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu come from catch wrestling or Japanese Jiu-Jitsu? Because, talking about back to my man Plymouth Ryan, Snake Pit. Ooh, Billy Riley, who taught Carl Gotch and Billy Robinson Wigan wrestling, Lancashire wrestling. You look at that, it looks like no-gi jiu-jitsu. So then you get into this Japanese thing. Japanese is who invented MMA. Let's put it there, Kamaeda. So then he goes, it's a long story of him, I want to portray him. So yeah, would that be yellow face? And I got to put my eyes slanty? It is what it is. I don't care. I'm anti-racist, bro. I got the militant pedigree. I've been in prison for fighting Nazis. A lot of these people going on talking about who's racist and who's not. I ain't never busted a grape, I ain't never seen a Nazi. Like all these so-called anti-racists and anti-fascists, bunch of college kids and George Soros disciples. How come they won't tell you the history of Antifa? That it was Antifascisti Aktion, which came from Roterfront Kampfverbund, which is the German Communist Party. Ernst Thälmann, the top Stalinist of Germany. Yeah, Antifa came from Stalinism. I still look at it that way, but the name been taken. George Soros and his people and the college kids done, and the FBI done hijacked it. So that's why I created my own U.S. Nat Bowl. And man, like Savage Artists, if he's out there, I ain't looking in the comments. But I'm gonna take it from the National Bolshevism, which is a name that people don't. Oh, National Bolshevism thinks you want to put Bolshevism over the nation. No, that's not what it means because it came from German, so it's a translation. It means nationalist Bolshevism. So it's a nationalist form of socialism, but not National Socialism, Nazism. But I'm gonna use the same logo I created, and it's the same thing, same theory. But the name for it in English is nationalist vanguardism. You have to know what vanguardism first is. Leninism. It's not just about the working class overthrowing the ruling class, the proletariat overthrowing the bourgeoisie, and seizing the means of control, seizing the means of production. That was an incomplete theory. It never went anywhere. So I tried to tell that Tommy Robinson chap, that Yaxley boy, if you're in prison, jail right now, and you're eating VIP food in your own wing, cheers to you, buddy. So you can continue your lesson, maybe learned or not, maybe you don't care because you're not interested in the real truth of anything. You're interested in making money and winding up people that don't get it, don't understand anything about politics. But Marxism means nothing. It's an incomplete theory. It wasn't until Vladimir Lenin came out and developed the vanguard theory. The strongest, the best, the vanguard will take over and reshape society and reshape the world. So people say, wait a minute, you just want to replace the existing ruling class with yourselves. Yeah, exactly. So then fascism, National Socialism come off of vanguardism. It's another form of vanguardism. But they use the racial thing, not in terms of the original Italian fascism, but in terms of the National Socialism, the Hitlerism. And then even the National Socialism is different because you got the original Strasserism, the so-called left-wing Nazis, and then later you have the Hitlerism, let's say, which is more with the Heinrich Himmler and so forth. And then going back to the origins of MMA, you got Fujiwara Gumi. What is that, 1991? Years before the first UFC. When I got with these guys, I was easily the best striker. I did a Gracie challenge. Big stories here. Origins of American Top Team, origins of MMA, before there was the name for it. You look at UFC 1, which is obviously a showcase for the Gracie family, the Helio Gracie side, but then you had the Extreme Fighting, which is the showcase for the Carlson Gracie side, my side. Mario Speri was the team captain, Conan Silveira, our head coach, ATT, he fought in it, bomb. So that was the other side. People don't know that organization now because it didn't go on. But you look at what Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighters were doing, Royce Gracie on down, 93 and forward. When I met them, they didn't know any striking. I could toy with them in striking, but obviously they could take me down. But I made myself valuable. I never had to pay. I made myself valuable as a sparring partner. I paid in blood and sweat, no tears. But you look back, okay, so Ricky Dozan, OG Japanese pro wrestling. Then you go to strong style, Antonio Inoki. It's still work. It's still, prearranged outcomes, but less gimmicks, less exotic moves, more based on grappling and striking. And then you got the Shuto, Satoru Sayama, aka Tiger Mask. Now you got a complete martial art, and he's with the JKD people. He's with the Jeet Kune Do people. Yeah, so I was already messing with all that before the first UFC, Shuto. And then if you look back at Fujiwara Gumi, that's like 91. Kane, Undertaker's brother. Look for Kane Fujiwara Gumi before he was in WWF. Imagine if he just would have been in MMA and never gone to pro wrestling. But he was too far ahead of the times, the organization he's in. And then Bart Vale is from here, founder of Shoot Fighting. And I've been around that organization. I've coached in that organization. I grew up, fighting with those guys from Shoot Fighting. So they were doing that. They were doing this type of fighting, mixed fighting, where everybody knows striking, grappling, submissions, throws. So I already knew. I was teaching in my school. I was teaching at the time of the first UFC. They sent us the posters and everything like that, and I had it on my wall. And I was already doing Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, before studying it formally, long before the first UFC. I was experimenting at least with it with my Taekwondo students, and we were already doing kickboxing. Some people know I fought in Shidokan, Kyokushin. I made it to semifinals, U.S. national title in War Memorial in 1998. I fought at 175 pounds. I lost to Muhammad Kieta, 6'3". He's from Chicago, Shidokan, Kyokushin expert. He knocked me out with a knee in the second or third round in the face. And then, and that's what we call Oriental rules MMA. Like you start out like Kyokushin style, first couple rounds, first 3 rounds. Then it goes to Muay Thai, next 3 rounds. Then it goes to basically like Shuto MMA, like they have a limited time on the ground. And we did a bunch of underground fights. These underground fights, they were in people's karate schools. But we were fighting full out. This is the OG era before UFC and stuff like that. And anyway, I beat like 50 people sparring, but I beat like 40, 50 people in order to get into that competition. I lost to Muhammad Kieta. He won the US title, and then he went to Japan and won the world title. And then he fought Kung Lee, in a Sanda match to a draw. So I didn't feel so bad by losing to that guy after I seen all that. So then going back into it, bam, origins of MMA, non-Brazilian origins. Because obviously they came in with the best submission system, and then it changed the world. But Ricky Dozan, onto Antonio Inoki, onto Satoru Sayama, onto Fujiwara Gumi, Kane. Look at Kane. Can kick, can suplex, because there's more throws. Jiu-Jitsu don't really allow a lot of the pro wrestling moves. You're not allowed to do a pile driver on somebody in Jiu-Jitsu tournament. You're not allowed to do a DDT on somebody. There's loads of pro wrestling moves that are illegal in Jiu-Jitsu that you'll get disqualified. Maybe you'll get banned for life. Somebody goes to double leg takedown you, jumping pile driver. If it breaks their neck, sorry, champ. That's professional wrestling, baby. Professional wrestling, king of sports. So let's get back to now let's take it to boom. So now obviously Gracie's developed their system through Count Maida's teaching. Helio Gracie wasn't big, sickly as it were. Carlos Gracie was the teacher, but then Helio taught for one time because he couldn't do any of the moves that relied on strength. So then original Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, is not submission wrestling. What I do is submission wrestling. Jiu-Jitsu is superior, but for pure Jiu-Jitsu. But if you get into an MMA situation or where there's striking and there's everything else and you're starting stand-up, then I think the Japanese system is superior. Anyway, that's a brilliant debate though. Just like with hip hop and Lord Jamar and Fat Joe, brilliant debates, a lot of different content and stuff. And now that I'm doing this live streaming stuff, I do this all day long, and I'm gonna get to the comments. But so Gracie, Helio Gracie, right? Then revolutionizes jiu-jitsu. And then Carson Gracie Sr., that revolutionizes jiu-jitsu the next, because he's more valetudo and he's bigger, and now it gets more into the no gi and striking and punching and everything. And then let's say now John Danaher Death Squad, he's a professor, philosophy professor, isn't he? And they sat in Gordon Ryan, they sat in for years and locked themselves in there doing footlocks, because it's an obvious weakness of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So I was doing the same thing, trying to use footlocks on them. But I was in there as a white belt, no belt, training with black belts, and they're all speaking Portuguese. And early Gracie days here and stuff. I'll get into that 1996 pre-American top team, pre-Brazilian top team. But John Danaher with the footlocks and the Gordon Ryan, they've made a revolution. And then the British Jiu-Jitsu, what my man Plymouth Ryan, it's a new revolution in Jiu-Jitsu. He's got, I don't know, maybe 20 principles. It's not a system memorizing moves. It's principles. He explained it to me in the car maybe 2 times ago when I was there, and it didn't make any sense. He's saying, yeah, no guard passing. Flies in the face of jiu-jitsu theory. But I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna come to his class. So any of you students of the man, like I call him Plymouth Ryan. You guys just call him Ryan. He's got to be Master Ryan. Maybe you don't want to be called Ryan. He started as Jippo Ryan. Now he's Plymouth Ryan. Next I'm gonna call him Master Ryan. In front of your students, I'm gonna call you Master Ryan, whether you like it or not. And your man Mark Buddha and the other Mark, those guys are instructors. So to me, they're 2nd degree black belts. You're a 4th degree black belt. Your students are students. And I want to observe on that Friday. I want to observe and see the whole system, because he's already explained it to me. And it is a revolution. And it's more based on catch wrestling and my man Seth Fromberg, Hebrew Goliath. He trained me in powerlifting. I trained him in MMA. He's the main security of Metallica. Big up Seth Fromberg if you're out there. He used to be I went to middle school with him. That's how we knew each other. And he was always like a skinhead. He always had a shaved head and stuff like that. This is back in the 80s, And then we always got along real well, and we stayed friends, and he became the main bouncer in like Lollapalooza, these big fests. Tell the history of those things, man. When we pre-colorblind, and we'd be there 100 deep at these big festivals, Lollapalooza, Warped Tour, other show. We'd be there 100 deep, South Florida skinheads from everywhere. We'd annihilate people all day long. We'd get in massive fights. 20 or 30 fights in one day, street fights. Mainly we're jumping people and fighting in groups. And Seth would be the main man. He'd be the main bouncer. So yeah, Seth Fromberg, he became Kimbo's bodyguard. Not that Kimbo needs a bodyguard by himself like that, but yeah, Seth Fromberg was Kimbo's bodyguard. And then I happened to see Kimbo in the street. We was out and about, with other homies I know, Haitians in Pompano. And he was there, and then I just basically told him what he knew who I was by my name, and we just hung out briefly a little bit like that. So, but yeah, I did get to meet Kimbo, super cool cat. He P. Ryan, you feel me? I'm Lauderdale Zulu, so you feel me? In the black community, as far as OGs and older lads, they all know who Zulu is. You know what I mean? The Zulu I'm part of. Let's see what else you got down there. Do the Ayatollah. Yeah, here we go. Diablo is a bluebird. La 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 la. Man, what a feeling. Being in a Cardiff, in the CCFC Bluebird Stadium, and the whole stadium's chanting, "Oh, Derek Diablo." Yeah, that's a good chant there. They got that one. Then in Plymouth, they got one for me. They came out with. I went to the match. That's another one people don't know. I tried to get into a hooligan fight in Plymouth in 2022. I booked my trip around Exeter. Exeter. I was told to turn up to the pub. I went there. That's a funny story. It's not funny because it was heartbreaking to me, but it didn't make any sense because I didn't realize it was an 8 o'clock match or night match. And I said, what am I meant to do? Some of the older lads are not around anymore like that for the fighting purpose. They instructed me to go with the younger lot. Cheers to those boys. I'm not going to say their names. They don't want to be known. Call themselves the Waste now. We are Central Element. But I went in the pub with those boys, as Bais, as it is, as you say in the Southwest, Bey. And I got there at 12 noon, buddy. The match is like 8 p.m. And it's by the stadium. I'm not going to say the name of the pub, but there's police. The old Bills are all outside watching us. Everybody's there. CP Company, Stone Island. It was awesome. And then, the drinks are so cheap in England. It's dangerous. If you're a person who likes to drink, first of all, you don't have to tip. And the pints, they got cheap pints. Carling, have a Carling. And then it's like Jaeger bombs. Fucking, I don't know, 5 for $10 or something like that. So I'm in there from 12 noon to damn near almost 8 o'clock, chanting all day, getting on it. Go to the bathroom. Jaeger bombs, pints. Before Exeter even arrived, before the match even began, I must have had 10 Jaeger bombs and about 15 pints and a bit of the old beak. So we're chanting against the police, but these guys chanted my name. The Plymouth one, they say, "There's only one Del Diablo, Derek Diablo. There's only one Del Diablo." And what's interesting is that's a common chant for football in UK. They don't know where it came from. That's a Celia Cruz song. Guantanamera. Is it Celia Cruz? Guantanamera, Guajira, Guantanamera. Maybe not. I don't know if it's Celia Cruz. It's a famous Cuban song. You feel me? All right, let me see what else we got. Oh, of course I'm still going, mate. Plenty. Oh, there he is. Masonic brother to the man like G. Peace, peace. Yeah, agreed that the Lord Jamar, Fat Joe beef, debate, conflict has caused division within the Black and Latino community. But the division is already there. You know what I mean? So has it exacerbated it? He's been able to bring out these, the FBA, the Foundation of Black Americans. So I wouldn't have known about that ahead of time. I'm a conspiratorial minded person. So I shouldn't be, if I look down here, I should be looking at this is the camera, right? Thing about it is, it could be a plot hatched by Lord Jamar, who is a mastermind, and he's a 5%er. He's a knowledgeable guy. Him and Fat Joe could have been hanging around and came up with the idea, because all of a sudden it put the two of them in the spotlight. Because Fat Joe keeps himself out there, because he moved on with the kind of music he makes. But Lord Jamar, Brand Nubian, kids don't know what that is. Punks jump up till they get beat down. That's a famous song to me. But in hip hop, has been taken over by the mainstream, so it's a throwaway culture. The music industry is not invested in pushing Brand Nubian and Lord Jamar. So him sitting back, finding existing conflict to exacerbate. That's what you do in pro wrestling. Hey, by the way, I gotta go to train. I'm not setting up I go teach and train. You know what I mean, at the academy on Thursday. So got my man Kenyan Kev coming by, scoop me up to go train. So I'm not setting up. I just came here to do this with y'all today, and I figured out how to monetize it ahead of time. I think. Let's see if it makes sense. Let's see if it works. But I'm just coming here to live stream today to do this. And the thing about it is, I got obsessed. I only meant to do this thing on Wednesdays, but I figured because I train all hard during the week. Then tomorrow I'll go lift weights and run, get on the treadmill tomorrow early in the day, and then I figured load up a bunch of drinks and go to downtown Miami and walk around and live stream, right? Because I think that you guys want to see that kind of stuff. And then I need to get sun. I didn't tan last time. I don't like to tan. I'm not into the sun like that. But if I'm gonna make content, make money off it, you feel me? If you guys want to go to the beach, I'll go to different beaches and lay out and live stream there. It's like, this is weird. putting people on camera and stuff like that. But everywhere, everybody's using their phones everywhere. You're getting filmed everywhere. So whatever, it's not illegal, right? You know, I don't gotta ask permission to nobody. Maybe I will talk to people. But this whole live streaming thing, I see mainly it's like younger kids that go around acting stupid and causing problems, like what Cullen Nice was trying to get me to do. You know what I mean? I didn't really get what he was trying to get me to do. Now I understand it. Like the buddy is what is in Korea was kicking off, and I don't know. You got what, these Jack Doherty young man, and it's interesting when you look at these kids. It's like throwaway culture. They're real like thin. Not to pick on anybody, but they come out with this gimmick and I don't know, tattoo up their faces and whatever you call it, SoundCloud rappers and meme rappers and Island Boys. Island Boys are from West Palm. They're from here, and they're home team to me. So if I ever meet them, I'll be cool with them. I'm cool with everybody. Unless somebody messes with me, you feel me? But back to Lord Jamar, Fat Joe. I made a video about it, and then it has to do with putting my place in hip hop. Because like you see, I'm putting older, and the oldest thing I got of me is 1990. That was before I was with Bully Boy, Skinner T, rest in peace. And the thing about it is, I didn't know how to rap. I came out with an idea in 1988 of merging hardcore and hip hop because I was it started by Cro-Mags Age of Quarrel, the intro. And then if you look at the first real Bully Boy song, Can't Be Having That we made once we figured out that you had to make your own beats, and it was SP1200 before the Akai came out. So we started working on that in 1992 when we first met that producer. We started working on that beat, and it's the intro of Cro-Mags, which I first started rapping to, or trying to rap to, writing to, and Black Sabbath, Iron Man, and then by the time we got it to, I used to just rap over Cro-Mags intro. So that's like 1987, or maybe 1988, because Colors had already come out. So like between Colors and Cro-Mags, Tripping on Acid, I figured out like I knew that I wanted to merge hardcore and hip hop. And there's a certain New York lad, famous in the hardcore scene, that sometime I told him my idea, and he said, "That's my idea." I'll tell that story one day, maybe. But it's funny because he merged hardcore and hip hop through the hardcore side of it to the rock side of it, and I did it the other side by becoming an MC, by becoming a rapper. But on that note, you know what I mean, skinhead hip hop, which I created, which I invented, had the vision for it in 1988. By 1989, I had the name Diablo and a more clear vision of it. Then by 1990, but I had already started to write stuff, but I didn't know how to rap. I wasn't listening to rap, man. I was listening to skinhead music, hardcore and everything like that. So I could write. So I wrote the lyrics, I came up with the theory, and then I would go to people's parties and stuff like that, and they wouldn't like what I was doing because I was screaming like hardcore style. So then, don't gotta name names. Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. But you look at 1989, nobody was screaming in hip hop. I wasn't influenced by anybody else rapping. I was influenced by myself, but I grew up with hip hop since day one. You feel me? Hip hop, the first hip hop song is Blondie, Rapture, 1975. Then Sugar Hill Gang after that. And I'm born 1974. Bam. Let's see what we got. The dyslexic pimp? No. No, but on about pimping, hey, I gotta go at 7. I gotta be ready to go at 7. So let me know when it starts getting. I can't see the time here. I need to get much more stuff. I think I need to get like a laptop. But you know what I just figured out? I brought my tablet. I want it to be on 2 different channels here, so I could look at the comments on one. But there ain't no Wi-Fi here, and my tablet needs Wi-Fi. So I'm gonna be limited like this for right now. But something that I've said that sounds like a bit of a joke that I intend to start. Maybe this time I'll start. The Church of Hooliganism. Ooh, Church of Hooliganism. Sound like a joke until you know about the Church of Pimpology, I think it's called. The man like Bishop Don Magic Juan. Check that out. He's famous in hip hop world and stuff like that. And you watch Pimps Up, Hoes Down. Watch Pimps Up, Hoes Down, Pimpin' movie, right? And then obviously Ice-T is up in that, and he was influenced by Iceberg Slim. I ain't never read a whole Iceberg Slim book, pimpin' book, basically a blaxploitation, if you want to use that term for books. And then there's the Donald Goines. There's all those like Black Godfather, those type of black gangster movie books. I see, black lads in prison reading those. But if you watch so I'm influenced in that sense. I want to be a preacher, and I'm a Christian, Judeo-Christian. It's a different religion, I think, Judeo-Christianity. But anyway, God accepted the Jews as the chosen people. But then Christianity is the path for non-Jews to get to God, the Most High God, Yahweh, Jehovah, the Tetragrammaton. We can't say the name. We don't know the name. But then Al-Islam is for the Muslims, for the Arabs. Persians don't call themselves Arab, but they're still up in there. And then it's like, with all these conflicts, I don't want to talk about it, because you got to be able to sit like with the Lord JAMAR and Fat Joe, with me and the Nazis. You got to be able to sit and break bread and dialogue, the Socratic method, also the Hegelian dialectic, which is what socialism is founded upon, the Hegelian dialectic, Hegel, which is to say you have your thesis and your antithesis, two polar sides of any argument. It can be flipped too, depending who's the antagonist and protagonist, depending what perspective you're coming from. And then the union of the thesis and the antithesis is the synthesis, or the correct answer. So back to the Church of Pimpology and the Church of Hooliganism. Basically pimps and gangsters and so forth ain't really gonna listen to it. Your basic preacher who's been a good boy all his life. Jesus didn't come to preach to the Pharisees and the Sadducees. He came, they said that you go with wine bibbers and prostitutes. That's where he came to preach to those people, like me. Basically, everybody who's a hooligan that I know, not one believes in God and Jesus, maybe one or two. So, getting on it all night, and I'm always talking about God and politics and religion, Freemasonry, the esoteric. But the Church of Hooliganism, go watch that Church of Pimpology, Bishop Don Magic Juan. The way he's talking, the way he's dressed, and you see in the pews, it's all pimps wearing their hats and everything like that. So then me will be the same thing, but in England, in a church, and all the lads got Stone Island and CP Company and that. You know what I mean? So I want to do a sermon, my first sermon, at the bombed out church in Plymouth. The Nazis bombed that church. I go hang around there. It's on the way from city center, and then you get Drake Circus. So you start in Barbican, you get Citadel, the whole, go city center, stop and have a passy. Gotta get a pasty. Maybe go Augie. We'll see, or maybe we'll stop by for Doonies. Then you keep walking, you make right, then you hit Drake Circus, that's a mall. Then the bombed out church is across the street from Drake Circus. It looks awesome, I think. And what a fitting place for me to start my church. And then that's when you get to Mutley Plain. Ooh, Mutley Plain, champ. Dog and duck, innit? That's the liveliest place I've seen in UK, bro. I don't care what anybody says. Plymouth is a fighting town. People in Plymouth are tough, and you'll see it now, tough boxers. Big up my boxing match, April 5th, versus Clint Osborne Bionic Boxing Barber. Here he's preparing, and they're looking at my footage. Good. You're going to see what I let you see. You haven't seen my real style yet. I was attempting to do the British style when I was over there, and I was at about 65% in that last match, but good thing, I guess, because if I was at closer to 100%, then nobody want to fight me, Already I moved up from influencer to white collar semi-pro. And this WTFC organization, I'm just getting to see how big they are. They're UK wide, but they're international. They do more like MMA and kickboxing events in Russia, all over. Maybe they're going to come to America now through me, but that's like MMA, Muay Thai, kickboxing. So I think that their boxing isn't the biggest thing. It's only in UK. But basically, man, if I win this title, if I win this belt, it looks like I can go for the English title. You gotta figure, my division, boxing has divisions, you know? It's not street fighting. I'm 50 right now, I'm gonna be 51. And then this fight is at 69 kilos, that's 152 pounds. The lowest I've been in my adult life for fighting for any purpose was 145 pounds, featherweight in MMA in 2011. So I can get down to that if I needed to. But my frame, I've also been, the biggest I've ever been jacked up is 205 pounds, heavyweight. 202 pounds is with the most I could maintain. So, yeah, man. Win this title, be the Southwest champion of England. I think they have a Wales champion. They have a Scotland champion, Ireland champion. If I could unify all those belts, in theory, I'll be the champion of all of UK and Ireland. Yeah. Get in my division, baby. 69 kilos. But then, another fight. Is this a jabroni? This talker? This Stephen Eldridge, Millwall hooligan, went down there. Look in the video. I didn't bother watching the video, but he goes down there talking, giving it large on that stupid Cullen Mize show. Cardiff Baby Huey allowed him to disrespect Cardiff and obviously disrespected Plymouth too. But what does Cardiff care? What does Huey care about that? But yeah, he talk all that shit. It's quite easy, bro. Like I said. All right, you want to talk shit like that? Valetudo, no rules in a cage, Cardiff. As soon as we see what happens, if I get knocked out, if I get hurt by a boxing barber, he says he's gonna knock me out. That's his promise to his community. That's his promise to everybody. He's gonna knock me out. He's gonna be the one to knock me out. So then for me, I don't need to make no promise. I don't need to make claims. I'm gonna turn up. I'm gonna box. I'm gonna do my best and trying to win a boxing match and trying to win a title. Yeah, that's what it's about. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. That's another controversial one. What really happened? You look at Chael Sonnen talking about it. He survived, and then he did enough to win. And Mike Tyson can knock you out. So why get close? This Clint Osborne can knock you out. So I have a lot of options in that regard. But then the Stephen Eldridge, he's not gonna turn up, is he? He's a coward. Like a lot of his friends. Now, the old Millwall, I have much respect for. I got mates that's Millwall. But he's the new top boy of Millwall firm. All right, well, Miami versus Millwall, who's the hardest? Meet you in Cardiff, champ. As soon as I'm done with my fight with and the great Kester One, Big Rat TV, I believe he's going to be coming and being with me, you know what I mean? Be in my corner, whatever it is like that. Maybe he'll be live streaming. I ain't got the pay-per-view links yet. And take the links and all that, let you know. Got a great card shaping up. I still haven't got all the fighters confirmed, so I'll delay on announcing that. But as soon as I know, if I don't get knocked out, if I don't get hurt, then we can announce the fight for Cardiff. And just like a football match, nothing to do with football, but just like I said, like a football match, you know the date and you know where it's going to be. So Stephen Eldridge, he hasn't responded to my call-outs and calling him a bitch and calling him a ho and telling him to meet me in Cardiff. I wonder why. Why? You went to Cardiff already and you talk shit about Cardiff and you talk shit about me. All right, meet me one-on-one. I'll shake your hand after. Loser, you shake hands afterwards. Lose, I'll have a pint with you. But is he gonna turn up for a Valetudo fight? So no rules? Obviously not. But what does that mean? Miami can come and go to Cardiff, and Millwall is scared to come. I guess the hooliganism is over, at least over there. It's quite simple. You get on the train, we'll have spotters, go body. I want to do body docs. How about this? How about we charge? I don't need no money, they just look after me. I don't care about money on this one. I don't care. It's not for title, it's grudge match. Miami versus Millwall, one-on-one. Bring your Millwall firm, bring all your lads. Bring as many as you can. Get on the train to Body, as I've done many times. Get off at Body, and we'll have a spotter there to let you know where to turn up to for the fight. But we might as well sell tickets in Cardiff and pick a charity. Maybe we do the charity for Custo's graffiti organization. He does great things in his community. He's been given awards by the community. He teaches people graffiti. He teaches kids graffiti. I've been at his shop and body. Now he's got a shop in Cardiff City Centre. I haven't been there yet. But Kesto One's a real good dude. Family man. I've met his family. Slept over his house. Massive respect to the man like Kesto One. A pillar in the community of Wales. And he going to be live streaming on his. Man, I got so much more things to talk about. Let me see what we got here, baby. Dyslexic Pimp still on there. Okay, well, it's 45 minutes already, and I had about an hour. So I'm going to close in a bit. Oh, this Friday, I'm doing an interview, a Zoom interview. I was supposed to do it in the past when I was over there, but we just haven't been able to make it work out. The man like Liam Galvin, if you don't know who he is, he's a British filmmaker. He produces the filming for IBF boxing, I want to say. He definitely produces, and he had a Sky TV deal. He's a big figure, and he's on his way up too. Check him out, Liam Galvin. He got loads of movies about hooligans, about unlicensed boxing, Lenny McLean. He's got loads of hooligan movies. He's good mates with Stephen Yaxley, Tommy Robinson. He's been out there on the protests and all those sorts of things. He's a lovely guy. Him and his wife, they're filmmakers. They have proper movies too. They have like gangster movie. They have one called Mob Handed. They have another one called Killer Bitch, and that's his wife who's the star of it. Yvonne, I believe her name is. Looking forward to meeting the two of them. But how me and him first started is a man like Sheridan Davey. Big up Sheridan Davey, understand? Man who brought the TCE into the ring, firstly, you understand? Sheridan Davey, legend, proper legend, Effort Boot Boys. Big up Sheridan Davey, his boy Scott, understand? And so basically, it started with Steve Dolan, because Steve Dolan wound me up. He's the boss of Millwall, got me to do the first promo. It was my idea, but he says, "Oh yeah, you do it first." And he put it, and it blew up on his page. And once I realized it was a wind up, because I talked to a Millwall lad through all that, and I finally met, and then I talked to a Millwall lad, and I was telling him this whole story. He's like, I'm not gonna say his name because he doesn't want to be known. I was the first person in Millwall I made friends with, and I thought he's the top boy of the firm at that time. That was 2019. So basically, I was telling him this kind of same tale I'm telling you on a video call like this, in August of 2018, a day or two after my first Millwall video came out. And I was telling him, he's like, "Do you still have the messages? Their Facebook messages?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can you screenshot them?" I'm like, "I don't know how to do a screenshot, but I guess so, yeah. Let me try it right now." So sure enough, I screenshotted all of them, sent it to him. He called me back. He said, "Top man, Del, top man, Del." That was the first time I heard that expression, top man. And he said, "Listen," he says, "we don't know Steve Dolan, and when we catch him, he told me what they're going to do to him. I don't know that ever actually happened." And I said, "Well, mate, now that I got you on the phone," I said, "this is what I want to do. A professional fight. We'll bring you over here to Miami. It's not illegal. 10 on 10, wear clobber, dark colors versus light colors. I got an idea. I want to rent in the future. I want to make it into a new sport. I want to go to like Costa Rica, go somewhere more on private land here. Make a stadium, build a stadium, have a team playing, and then you got the hooligans, 50 on 50, 100 on 100, inside a stadium. Let the games begin. Like hooligan recreation, reenactment. See, I'm in HEMA, Historical European Martial Arts. That's what we do. Gladiator reenactment, that's part of it, but more like HEMA, German longsword. Reconstruction, historical reconstruction. You reenact it in a real way. We can do it with football hooliganism. It's dead as such in UK. It's not worth it. So this is what I'm creating is neo-hooliganism, a different form of it. Get in the ring, do it in a controlled manner. We still got the clobber, we still got fighting and combat, but it's going to eliminate a lot of people, because let's be honest, like the Stephen Elridge, they're not real fighters. Yeah, sure, if they got a bunch of guys, they're sniffed up and they got weapons, well, they'll do something, whatever like that, but they won't fight one-on-one, they won't get in the ring, they won't train, they don't got the discipline for it. How many hooligans in all these firms will fight one-on-one? And that's one thing that Cardiff and Plymouth is the two top. as far as I'm concerned. Not just because I'm friends with them. Look how many Plymouth fighters you got associated with the football firms. TCE and Matt McCary, now they Carson Gardner. It's other lads too. It's a fighting community. It goes back to Navy days. The Navy coming into Plymouth. Navy people going around fighting, and the lads and the families getting together and fighting them. There's a lot of bloodshed that's been occurred in the Plymouth, and then when you talk about the Cardiff firm, and you hear Mr. Jonathan Evans talking about it. And he's talking about we had a lot of good one-on-one fighters. So you got a lot of good one-on-one fighters in your group. That's the most important thing. You could have loads of soft fighters that only fight in a group, and then you get a small group to wreck them. It's like us skinheads. We'd go to a death metal. Ooh, on that. Here's one, fam. Cause I gotta go soon. I need a Wikipedia page. Well, I don't know how to do it, and I've been trying to look into it. And the thing is, you're not allowed to do it yourself. I'm not allowed to do it. So here's the thing: you have to be. I got so much stuff that I'm covered in, way more than a lot of other people that deserve a Wikipedia page. But here's how you do it, fam. Obituary, the band Obituary, Back from the Dead, the album I'm on, 1997, me and Skinner T, rest in peace. Rapping, first rap and death metal combination. Arguably the best hardcore hip hop song of all time. The only one that competes against it is Onyx and Biohazard. But Obituary, Back from the Dead. Look that up on Wikipedia, and you'll see John Tardy. Big up John Tardy, singer of Obituary. He's talking about, because they're asking him about that the song Bullituary, Bully Boys, Us, and Obituary, and he says basically that I asked it was Frank Watkins who really arranged it. Rest in peace to him. Old school Lauderdale Skin, one of the founders of death metal. Obituary, death metal came from Tampa, from Florida. Here we had Malevolent Creation, Fort Lauderdale. Up there they had Deicide, Cannibal Corpse, Obituary. You feel me? So I've been that since day one. But it says that we asked our friends Diablo D and Skinner T to be on it. So he says my name there, but there's no hyperlink. So then the hyperlink, my name should turn into a hyperlink, and then boom, there's my Wikipedia page. So maybe you guys can get in there and start demanding it, or start messing around on Wikipedia. I got loads of stuff out there, don't I? And the way that people do their albums, every single song and every single album is listed. How about on Wikipedia, you list every single one of my YouTube videos, one by one, as its own title. It's like a single. Shows I'm the most prolific YouTube artist, or artist in general. Polymath, Skinhead Leonardo da Vinci, Skinhead Hunter Thompson, Skinhead Andy Kaufman. That's me, baby. But yeah, Obituary. And here's it. Oh, another thing. They wanted to interview me for a book on Obituary. The thing is this: I was supposed to get a penny, and Skinner T was supposed to get a penny. Okay, time for me to go, y'all. Time for me to go, y'all. All right. Okay, big up, everybody. Cheers. I'm gonna go downtown Miami, having drinks and walking around. Cheers.